Hello, it's Maggie Handcamp. We're doing a video on grief, and we're using Francis Weller's book, The Wild Edge of Sorrow. He goes into 5 gates of grief that we may not have acknowledged in our life. And so the first video was on Facebook. This one I'm doing more on YouTube. It seems to be more easily accessible, and I may post this on Facebook too, to let people know. So the second gate of grief that we're going to get into is the grief that we have because there are places in us that are untouched by love, is how Francis Weller uses it. It's about shame. It's about shame. And I want to read a section from Francis Weller's book because it makes so much sense. Herein begins the slow, insidious process of carving up the self to fit into the world of adults. We become convinced that our joy, sadness, needs, sensuality, and so forth are the cause of our unacceptability. And we are more than willing to cleave off portions of our psychic life for the sake of inclusion, even if it is provisional. We become convinced on some basic level that these pieces of who we are not good enough, that they are in fact shameful, and we banish them to the farther shore of our awareness in hopes of never hearing from them again. They become our outcast brothers and sisters. So thank you, Francis Weller. There's going to be 3 main sections to our tapping today, and I want you to realize we will start with a generalized tapping, just so you remember the points. We will be tapping on 3 things: the inability to speak up, the addiction to approval, and the third one is the need to be right. So I say to you, are you ready? This is a very, very hard area to work through. Challenging because so much of who we are was cut off perhaps at age 7. But I'm willing to bet that if we can release these blockages, forgive parents, forgive teachers, forgive caregivers, and move on, our health improves, our energy improves so much, gets so much better. So a couple of ideas. Keep a notebook near you, so if something comes up during the tapping that seems to be an important thing, write it down and use that as a tapping script for yourself later. I have my notes on the class of what we're going to work on with Gate 2, the places that have not known love. And my notes are here. Please feel you stop this video at any time that it becomes too emotional for you. And that brings up the other point, is sharing these items, these shameful items, with anyone. Wait till you have a trusted person to share them with, okay? Whether a family member, professional therapist, but do not be sharing this with the person sitting next to you in the airplane seat. Wait and see till you have someone who's trusted, who will respect your need to release these items. Okay, so first I've gotten out our chart from the big classes that I do. This is big so you can see it across the room, but I realized I kept trying to move the computer around to put my whole body in. It's difficult. And so I said, this will be easier. We will do a tapping session. We start with the karate point, okay? And we frame it usually with, even though, let's say this, I have this inability to speak. I deeply, completely love and accept myself. And we use similar words for any problem, stating the problem and then stating that we accept ourselves with the problem. Now, other teachers go a different way. I'm an energy person who then starts at the top of the head and with one word or two, this problem or this inability. Then I come right down to where the eyebrows start. You may use one hand or both. You can cross your hands over if you want to. That's up to you. Okay, then to the side of the eye, again repeating just one word of what you're working on. Okay, under the eye. And people say to me, how many times? Well, 7 to 10 times. But you will start to feel your own energetic needs. And if it goes longer, hey, that's okay too. That's okay. Under the nose, under the nose. Under the lips. And a fun one, that's the collarbone. Just a little bit below the collarbone right here. And I make a joke sometimes and go, woo! Okay. Then under the armpits, and this is part of it, about 3-4 inches under the armpit. Can do that, or give yourself a big hug. Big hug, big hug, big hug while tapping, or if this point is especially sore, rub it in the beginning. Rub it, rub it, rub it. Okay? And then you'll notice we have one point that's underneath, and I call it the bottom of the rib cage. And tap, 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 this problem, this just concern, whatever. And then wrist together, wrist together, wrist together. Either side is okay. And then a little drink of water at the end. Now, you'll notice there's a couple of other points on there, because there's actually thousands and thousands. I studied in Thailand also and learned so many other spots that are helpful for so many things. But the tender spot is used instead of tapping on the karate spot. We'll get to that. We'll get to that, and I'll do some of the tappings with that. And then the gamut point is a real special one. I like people to know this, so put your hand out, see your pinky and your ring finger, make a fist, roll up over the knuckle, and you'll see a little valley right in there. Anti-anxiety point, anti-anxiety. So good to do at meetings, whatever, and it's on either hand. Just slide up or tap, 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 tap. Okay, are you ready? And do feel free to stop at any time. These are very strong emotions which we will be working with and releasing. The shame from our childhood, the feeling of not being good enough, not being worthy enough. So we're going to start with tapping on the karate point, and I'm going to use this phrase, even though I have an inability to speak up, I love and accept myself anyway. Even though I have this inability to speak up, I am an okay person. And again, even though I have this inability to speak up, I deeply, completely, I love and accept myself anyway. Do you get the gist of that? So state the problem and that you're accepting yourself with it too. I then go, and different teachers go in different ways, but I go top of head and I just use one word, inability, inability. Eyebrows, inability, inability. Side of the eye, inability. Under the eye, this inability. Under the nose, this inability. Under the lip, this inability. Collarbone, collarbone, collarbone. And then give yourself a hug and tap under the armpits about 3-4 inches down. This inability. And then bottom of the rib cage, below the nipples, bottom of the rib cage, this inability to speak up. And then wrist together, wrist together, wrist together. And either way is okay. There's so many acupressure points there. Okay, stop and take a deep breath. And another if you feel like it. And water if you would like. Water is, the tapping works so much better if you're hydrated. So that may be all you want to do. Maybe you've had to stop and write something in your notebook that you want to work on later. And that's okay. There's no rush with this. We take our time. When you're ready, you'll go to the next point. And the next idea is, hey, I wonder if I'm ready to release this inability to speak up. I just wonder about it. I wonder if I'm ready. So I wonder if I'm ready to release this inability to speak up. Regardless, I love and accept myself anyway. I wonder if I'm ready to release this inability to speak up, and it doesn't matter. If I am or not, it's okay. I'm fine the way I am. I wonder if I'm ready to release this inability to speak up, which protected me so much over the years. Yet I completely love and accept myself anyway. Top of head, I wonder. Is it time to release this? Where the eyebrows start, I wonder. Side of the eye, I wonder. Under the eye, I wonder. Under the nose, I wonder. Under the lips, I wonder about this. Collarbone. Give yourself a hug and tap or rub those places 3-4 inches. Those acupressure points 3-4 inches just under your armpit. And then the bottom of the rib cage, tap. I wonder. Take a big breath. Exhale much longer than the inhale. And just say to yourself, hey, I wonder, am I ready to release this inability to speak up? It's part of something that's protected me all this time. And so feel free, if you wrote something in your notebook, stop and think maybe I need to do some more work with that. However, now's the time to say, I think I'm ready to release this. I'm ready to release this. And it may not be just a one-shot wonder. We may have to do this section of releasing a number of times. But this time, instead of the karate point, we're going to use the tender's point. On a couple of inches down and across, we use the tender spot on your chest. It's actually part of the neural lymphatic drainage system. Just gently rub this while we talk. Yes, even though I am now ready to release a percentage of this inability to speak, I deeply, completely love and accept myself. So even though I'm now ready to release and pick out a percentage, I'm going to say 35% just to move us along here. Even though I'm now ready to release 35% of this inability to speak, I deeply, completely love and accept myself. So even though I'm now ready, and you choose any amount, it could be 2%, 5%, whatever. Even though I'm now ready to release 35% of this blockage, this inability to speak from shame, I accept myself and love myself deeply and completely. Now, the round is again top of the head, and let's use your percentage. I'm using 35%. Eyebrow, 35%. 35%. Under the nose, 35%. Collarbone. And under the arms, and also give yourself a hug, because this is a big thing just to start to say, wait a minute, I do have that blockage. I see it in my behavior, and I'm ready to release 35%. Bottom of the rib cage, and then wrist together. And again, a big deep breath. And a little water if you need it at all. Okay. So, I mean, it's up to you. If you're ready, and again, it's a thing you'll note in your notebook or on a piece of paper or on a Post-it even, and say, wait a minute, when will I be ready? When will I be ready? We can do a tapping on that just to see if any answer comes up. I use tapping on everything, okay? It's so great for any emotion, any decision making you have to do. It gives you a chance to say, and you'll feel your system will be answering you. So why don't we do our last round on when will I be ready to release this inability to speak up? And then we'll move on to the approval and the need to be right. Okay, let's again use the tender spot. Even though I don't know when I'll be ready to release the whole of this shame, I deeply, completely, I love and accept myself. So even though I don't know when I'm going to be ready to release the whole of this shame, I deeply, completely love and accept myself. So even though I don't know when I'll be able to release this whole 100%, I've made a beginning, I've made an inroad, as they say. I deeply, completely love and accept myself. Top of head, when? When to 100%? Eyebrow, eyebrow, when to 100%? When? Side of the eye. When will I be able to release to 100%? When? When? Under the nose. When will I release to 100%? Under the lip. Under the lip. Collarbone, collarbone, collarbone. Under the arm. Rib cage, bottom of the rib cage. When? And then wrist together, wrist together, wrist together. And again, take a deep, deep breath. Exhale as long as you can. We're going to go on to, thank you, Francis Weller. We're going to go on to the second part of the second gate of grief. And we have an addiction for approval. Okay. And we're going to start right away with tapping on the karate point, the outside of the hand. And start it again. Even though I have this addiction for approval, I accept myself exactly as I am. Even though I have this addiction for approval, I deeply, completely love and accept myself anyway. And switch to the other hand if you want to. Even though I have this addiction to approval from others, no matter what it is, I deeply, completely, I love and accept myself anyway. Approval. Need for approval, top of head. Eyebrow, eyebrow. Need for approval. Addiction to approval. Side of the eye. Side of the eye. This need for approval. Under the eye. This need for approval. Under the nose. This addiction to approval of others. Under the lips. This addiction to approval of others. Collarbone, collarbone, collarbone. Under the arm, and give yourself a hug. This is again a challenge to think about how often you let others determine what you're going to do, what you're going to think, what you're going to feel. Bottom of the rib cage, bottom of the rib cage. This addiction to the approval of others. And then wrist together, wrist together, wrist together. A little bit of water if you like. And we're going to continue on, but remember to stop. Use your notebook, write down anything this is bringing up in your mind. Any emotions that come up, honor those. and stop and say, okay, I need to think about this a little bit. Okay, with this addiction to approval, it again started as a way to make yourself accepted, to make yourself loved and part of the group. So it's a very deep need within us that we used to protect ourselves. So we're going to maybe start with releasing just a little bit of this need for approval. And again, it's from our childhood. Usually up to age 7, we've picked up these ideas that we're not okay. We're not okay unless we have the approval of others. And it continues on. It's a blockage in our system. So how about we try to release some little bit of this today? And through this tapping, you pick out some percentage. Or if you're not ready for that, then let's just say, I wonder when. Let's just do a tapping on I wonder when. I wonder when I will be ready to release this need for approval. I wonder when I'll be ready to release it. Could it be today? Could it be tomorrow? Or could I do just a small percent? I wonder when. I wonder when I'll release this need for approval. And last time, I wonder when I'll release this addiction to the approval of others for everything I do, whether it be clothing, speech, behavior, politics, house furnishings, whatever it is. I wonder when. Top of head. I wonder when. Eyebrow, eyebrow. I wonder when. Side of the eye. I wonder when. Under the eye. I wonder when I can let go of this need for approval. Under the nose. Under the lips. Collarbone, collarbone, collarbone. Give yourself a big hug. I wonder when. Am I ready right now to release maybe half of it today? This need for approval. Bottom of the rib cage. Bottom of the rib cage. And then wrist together, wrist together, wrist together. Big breath and a little more water. Now, how about we choose a really good amount? Let's say I'm going to choose to release 75%, but you pick what you need. Or let's do this one with a tender point. Even though I'm choosing to release only 75% of my addiction to approval of others, I deeply, completely, I love and accept myself. Even though I'm choosing only to release today 75% of my need for approval of others, I'm an okay person. So even though I'm only releasing 75% of my need for approval from others, I deeply, completely, I love and accept myself anyway. Top of head, 75% or whatever percent you're releasing. Eyebrow, releasing percent. Releasing. Under the nose, releasing your percentage in there. Releasing. Collarbone, collarbone, collarbone. Give yourself a big hug. I'm releasing that much. I know I can do that. Bottom of the rib cage, bottom of the rib cage. And then wrists together, wrists together, wrists together. So take a deep breath again. It's a lot of work and it's really great. Thank you for joining me with this. I am so enjoying doing this myself and the results. So let me know at handcamp@gmail.com if you're feeling any results. So it's hankamp@gmail.com. And I'd love to hear your progress, because this is something we'll keep working on. Because this is only gate number 2 per Mr. Waller's Gates of Sorrow. So we're going to do the others too. I'll be doing those in the next months to come. Gate number 3. Ha ha ha. My need to be right. My need to be right. Again, it's part of something. We were either teased, we were taunted, teachers said something, parents said something, our caretaker said something, devastated us. And we've got to be right no matter what. And we almost have to tell everybody else that we are right about this too. We are right. So let's just start with, let's use our karate point first. Even though I need to be right, I need to know the answer. I need to be right. I deeply, completely, I love and accept myself, and I accept this need to be right. So even though I need to be right no matter what, I love and accept myself anyway. So do expect sighs, do expect yawns, do expect even tears. And again, stop though and write down what you're sensing, what you're feeling. Get it in your notebook so you can clear these blockages out. You will be so thankful. So even though I need to be right, and I've needed to be right since I was 8, 9, 10 years old, I've needed to be right. It was protection. Top of head, I am right. Right, right, right. Okay, eyebrow, right, I am right. Side of the eye, I am right. Under the eye, I am right. Under the nose, I am right. Under the lips, I am right. Collarbone, collarbone, collarbone. I gotta be right. I got to be right. Under the arms, I must be right. Bottom of the rib cage, I must be right. And wrist together, wrist together, wrist together. Take a deep, deep breath. Exhale as long as you can. Make it a really lengthy, lengthy exhale. And then think about it. I wonder what would happen if I give up this need to be right. I wonder. Let's do a tapping on that. Let's do a tapping on that. If you need water, please take water. If you need to write some things down, stop now. Stop now and do it. But we're going to use the tender points, a couple inches down and across, and say, I wonder, even though I wonder what's going to happen if I'm not right all the time, I deeply, completely, I love and accept myself and any mistakes I might make. Even though I wonder what's going to happen if I'm not right all the time, I deeply, completely, I love and accept myself. Even though I wonder what's going to happen, I've got to be right. I've got to be right. Or I'll be so ashamed if I'm wrong. I accept myself and my feelings of having to be right. Okay, top of head, this need to be right. I wonder, can I let go? I wonder, wonder, wonder. Eyebrow, eyebrow, I wonder, 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 can I let this need to be right go? I wonder. I wonder, wonder, wonder. Under the eye, under the nose, under the lips, collarbone, collarbone, collarbone. And I wonder. Give yourself a big hug and tap under the arms. Tap at the bottom of the rib cage, and I wonder. Ribs, wrists together, wrists together, wrists together. then stop a minute and see, are you ready? Are you ready to release this need to be right? Pick out some percentage that might work for you. And I mean, if you're really ready, go to 100% and we'll tap on it. But why don't you start with something, whatever comes to your mind first? And be gentle with yourself. Be compassionate with yourself. This is a way of being that we've picked up and we've used it for years successfully. So even though I'm only ready to release 47% of this today, I deeply, completely, I love and accept myself. Even though I am ready only to release 47% today, I deeply, completely, I love and accept myself. So even though I'm releasing the need to be right, close to 50%, but I don't want to go there yet, I'm not ready. But even though I'm releasing the need to be right 47% of the time today and the next couple of days and the rest of my life, I don't need to be right. I'm releasing that much. I deeply, completely, I love and accept myself, and I accept that I don't have to be right all the time. Top of head, release, release, release. Eyebrow, eyebrow, eyebrow. Release the need to be right. Side of the eye. Release the need to be right. Release this percentage, this need to be right. Release the need to be right. And I'm releasing this percentage of the need to be right. I'll feel it later today when someone says something or I need to say or judge something. I'll say, hey, I've released that percentage of the need to be right. And it feels good. Collarbone, collarbone, collarbone. Under the arms, give yourself a hug here. I'm releasing that need to be right. I'm releasing that need to be right. Bottom of the rib cage, bottom of the rib cage. So and then wrists together, wrists together, wrists together. Take a deep breath and have some water. I thank you. I thank you for joining us. Part of what happens to us if we release this inability to speak up, we'll be living more. We'll be living more freely. If we release this addiction to approval, we'll start to learn, who am I? What's my soul say to do? What's my heart saying to do right now? What's best for me? What's best for me? And also releasing this need to be right is going to free us. All of three of these are so freeing. And I want you to feel the joy that is your birthright, that you can move ahead, that you can say, hey, what do I want to be remembered for in my life? And once you release these blockages from your system, oh, there'll be such a blossoming of you. So I wish you all love. I wish you all health. And I wish you a continued progress in releasing this inability to speak up, release this addiction to the approval from others, and releasing the need to be right. Remember that tapping changes your brain. And so we'll be allowed to start and have a new system, a new neurolymphatic pathway that allows us to make our own decisions, speak up, and be wrong if we need to be. Blessings on you. Bye-bye.